Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Samuel Marty, and I am honored to be your host for today's session of National Links to Learning. It's great to have so many of you joining us this afternoon from across Turtle Island. Whether you're tuning in from your office, your community, or from your home, thank you for making the time to be here. A little bit about National Links to Learning for those who are new. National Links to Learning is a virtual workshop series developed in partnership with Procurement Assistance Canada. It's specifically designed to support First Nations economic development officers, land managers, and elected leaders in their work on the ground. Each 1 hour session provides space for learning, collaboration, and connection, focused on strengthening the skills and knowledge needed to lead successful economic and land-based initiatives in our communities. We are joined each week by CANDO staff and guest speakers who bring insights on everything from procurement to partnership, certification to clean tech. What we can expect in the upcoming series is the regional showcase, the Atlantic featuring Pomerleau, a spotlight on green technology, and the regional showcase of the northern district there. A few housekeeping reminders. Please use the raise hand feature if you'd like to speak or ask a question, or use the chat box and we'll be monitoring, and be sure to acknowledge your questions. At the end of the session, you'll receive a short evaluation form. By completing it, you'll be entered into our monthly $100 gift card draw. We truly appreciate your feedback. It helps us keep improving on these sessions. Today's session, Unlocking Opportunities in FDI, an introduction to Invest in Canada. We are excited to welcome Invest in Canada, the federal agency that leads the effort in bringing foreign direct investments, FDI, into our country. Today's session will provide a look into how Canada positions itself globally to attract investment, the resources available to communities and organizations, and why a global partnership can be an important part of local economic growth. We are pleased to welcome a very special guest, Tamaïka Jumelle, the Director of Federal Partnerships and Strategy at Invest in Canada. The federal agency responsible for attracting and facilitating foreign direct investments into our country. In this session, we'll learn about Invest in Canada's mandate to help global companies expand their footprint in Canada, while exploring the competitive advantages that make Canada a world-class destination for investment, whether you're considering new opportunities for your community or simply seeking to better understand Canada's global economic positioning. Today's presentation will offer valuable insights and tools to support your work. Please join me in welcoming Tamaïka Jumelle and special guest Daniel Malik. The floor is yours, Tamaïka.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy, really delighted to be here with you on behalf of Invest in Canada. So Sam, Jessica, Tara, and the CANDO team, thank you so much for the kind introduction and invitation. As mentioned, I'm Tamaïka Jumelle. I'm the Director of Federal Partnerships and Strategy at Invest in Canada. My team specifically is responsible for establishing and developing productive strategic relationships across the federal government. And then we leverage those relationships to gain a better understanding of Canada's strategic priorities in terms of sectors and market objectives. And we also provide relevant and timely information to investment proponents. Of note, in my team, we also lead Invest in Canada's engagement with the Indigenous communities, ensuring that we are working in alignment with Indigenous communities' priorities for foreign direct investment, FDI. We also provide high-level information and early and intentional introduction and connections for global companies with Indigenous communities and organizations. And I'll speak about this more later in the presentation. Also want to introduce my colleague, Daniel Malik, who is the senior strategic in my team. So Daniel is really the one who is looking at this Indigenous engagement for Invest in Canada, and he's has helped put together this webinar. So now let me introduce you to Invest in Canada. Daniel, if you could kindly share your screen. And I'll also mention that my first language is French, so I'm happy to take questions either in French or in English. And don't hesitate to raise your hand if you have any question at any time. Next slide, please. Ken? The one after, and the one after. Thank you. So Invest in Canada is Canada's national investment promotion agency. We work directly with investors to attract, facilitate, and accelerate business expansion in Canada. We really act as the primary point of contact for global companies that are seeking to make transformative investments into Canada. As you can see here, our head office is in Ottawa, but we also have regional presence across the country. And this way, we ensure that we can identify and support investment opportunities from coast to coast to coast. Next slide, please. So Invest in Canada brings together industry, community, government partners, and we are able as Team Canada to offer seamless services that make it easy for global companies to grow and their operations in Canada. So we work closely with a wide range of partners. As you can see here, we have the provinces, the territories, the municipalities across Canada, but also regional economic development agencies, the global innovation clusters, non-governmental organization, academia, research centers, etc. Next slide. Now I want to maybe focus on our mandate. The first aspect is really the promotion of Canada as a foreign direct investment destination. And this is a really important and major component of our mandate and of our activities. For example, this week, part of the team is at the Paris Air Show, and another team is in Boston for the Bio International Convention. They are speaking about our life sciences ecosystem and trying to attract companies to come here. So we really do this activity because we need to bring forward Canada's compelling value proposition and the different competitive advantages that we have. And I'll speak about them later in the presentation. A second aspect is really the support, and I would say really the hand-holding of those global companies. So we have a range of investor services that we offer them. And so we really, step by step, we are with them to help them in their investor journey in Canada. And thirdly, the partners that I have mentioned previously have access to tools and services that are here to support their own investment attraction effort. So Invest in Canada is here to complement the efforts that the provinces, the municipalities, and the territories are doing, and we bring to them those services and tools that can help them do that. On the next slide, we thought we would speak a little bit about the priority sectors that Invest in Canada is very focused on, and afterwards on the markets that we are actively pursuing. Here, these are the priority sectors, and how they are defined is really in alignment with Government of Canada priorities, and they represent areas where Canada could play a leading role today and in the future, attracting global companies that can come in and really strengthen our existing value chain and ecosystem in those sectors. So we have competitive advantages, which make Canada very attractive in those sectors. And these are also sectors that are driving good jobs and higher standard of living for all Canadians. So as you can see here, advanced manufacturing, life sciences, agri-food, clean tech, and energy production as well, or really the focus that we have as priority sectors. And on the next slide, similarly, we are being proactive in those markets. So this is where there is really a strong alignment with Invest in Canada's priorities and the Government of Canada's market priorities. And these markets are really reassessed on a regular basis. For example, when the Government of Canada launched the Indo-Pacific strategy about 2 years ago, Invest in Canada followed suit with assessing the markets that we were already very active on, but also assessing potential for new opportunities for FDI coming from Indo-Pacific countries as well. About the support to companies on the next slide, one after again, Invest in Canada promotes, facilitate, and accelerate foreign direct investment into Canada. We offer customized services to help companies unlock investment opportunities and ensure that this is done in a smooth and efficient manner, because this is important for companies, that they are able to have the right conversation and that their investment journey is smooth. So we really pride ourselves on being trusted advisors, trusted guide that help ensure foreign investment in Canada allow companies to grow and prosper. We make it easy to build innovative and global businesses in Canada by connecting investors with the right people in the right places at the right time across the country. On the next slide, you will see the suite of custom services that we offer to companies, to those global businesses. These include business advisory services, market intelligence, and end-to-end road mapping. We also facilitate partner introductions, we implement program referrals, and we support communication with government partners, including sensitive file management. So additionally, what we do is we also compile tailored incentive packages, especially, with the investment tax credits, the ITCs. You've probably heard of them as well. We work closely with finance and with the Canada Revenue Agency, CRA, to really get a finer understanding of the investment tax credits and how global companies that we work with could actually take advantage of them, because these would be factored in the decision making in favor of Canada as well. We also coordinate site visits and support companies already in Canada with reinvestment and expansion opportunities, but also with retention. And this is something that we are being more and more focused on. So we are also helping with problem solving and helping companies navigate issues, especially on permitting, regulation, immigration, and workforce, which are issues and challenges that they may face once they have decided to come and invest in Canada or they're already established here. On the next slide, this is really the Team Canada, the network that we have and that we can leverage in support of those investments files. So as mentioned in my introduction, my team is responsible for nurturing those relationships with federal partners to bring knowledge and understanding to our team internally and to the global companies so that they can get the answers they need from federal government and also to accelerate their decision-making in favor of Canada. Here, I do want to highlight maybe the role of the Trade Commissioner Service, in particular the investment officers at Global Affairs Canada. So this is a network of about 40 to 44 investment officers, and specifically they are located in embassies and consulates around the world. So they act as our lead generators, our ears and eyes on the ground, as I like to say, because they really are able to leverage close relationships and network with companies' headquarters in their respective markets. And this is where they first identify the investment opportunities at the source. And then they connect Invest in Canada colleagues to really accompany the investment project more closely from here and in collaboration with the partners at the federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal level, as I mentioned previously. And throughout this, we work with all those agencies to really bring those answers, whether on regulations or, finances, incentives, that the companies need in order to make their decision here. So this is really a continuum of services from Team Canada that starts with Global Affairs and the investment officers and continues with Invest in Canada and the federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal partners. On the next slide, particularly the support to Indigenous communities priorities for FDI. So our organization is deeply committed to supporting Indigenous communities in advancing their economic priorities, especially when it comes to foreign direct investment. We recognize that true economic reconciliation requires more than just investment. It really requires partnership and Indigenous leadership and respect. And our approach is really grounded in listening and learning and building strong, respectful relationship with Indigenous leaders, communities, organizations such as CANDO. So in terms of our commitment, I do want to mention that, our role is really to support those investment attraction efforts that, your communities would be putting together. And we would be promoting opportunities that align with community values, because FDI should reflect those priorities and the values of the community it touches. I also want to mention the activity regarding building genuine capacity for collaboration. So what we aim to do is really to empower Indigenous communities to participate as true partners in our work at Invest in Canada and in Canada's foreign direct investment activities. So this can include providing tools, insights, and the connections that support Indigenous-led FDI attraction efforts. Specifically on the next slide, we see our role as a facilitator. So Invest in Canada can serve as a bridge connecting Indigenous communities with global investors. We are here to help communities attract the right kind of investment that respects sovereignty, support sustainability, and create lasting benefits. So at every step of the way, we are really guided by that commitment to respectful collaboration and long-term partnerships as well. In the next section, I wanted to speak about Canada's compelling value proposition to attract global companies to grow and prosper in our country. So here on this slide, you see that Canada really connects businesses to the world through trade, infrastructure, and people, and making it strategic and inclusive place to invest and grow. On the next slide, this is literally what we tell investors. This is our value proposition, and this is why companies should invest in Canada. And I will just focus on specific aspects, but as you can see, there are these and so much more that we could say about why companies should invest in Canada. So the first one is the global market access. So really the access that Canada provides to large and growing markets. So we bring the entire world within reach because we have a comprehensive portfolio of free trade agreements that create new pathways to world markets and to global supply chains. Canada is renowned for how many free trade agreements and investment agreements that we have around the world. And we really offer secure tariff-free market access to economies in North America, South America, Europe, Asia. And this is really a distinctive trait for Canada that we put forward to those global companies as well. The next one I want to highlight is the talent. So the OECD, the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, consistently ranks Canada as the most highly educated workforce in the world. 63% of Canadians aged between the 25 and 64 hold the post-secondary qualifications. So our talent pool is diverse, it is experienced, and is motivated to succeed. And this is what makes the difference in really contributing to our workforce, especially in the STEM fields, for example. And this is why we also have success in research and development, because there's also that dedicated strategy to promote the cooperation between businesses, research center, academia, educational institutions as well. For example, with those innovation clusters, as I've mentioned previously. We also have global businesses that come to Canada. We know that they need top talent for their investment to be successful, not only homegrown talent, but also new talent that come to Canada. And the Government of Canada's Global Skills Strategy, this is a fantastic program that companies can take advantage of, and bringing highly skilled talent within 2 weeks, which will help companies assemble the team that they need to meet their expansion goals here in Canada. The last point I want to mention is sustainability. So according to research firm Rystad Energy, Canada is one of the top 2 countries in the world for green energy investment attractiveness. So we are committed to leveraging the technologies and energy system needed to meet our net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050. We are a world leader in renewable power. We know about hydroelectricity and other forms of renewable energy, and we really lead the globe in creating sustainable industries. So there is an integrated approach to sustainability that really make Canada the ideal place for business leaders that are looking for the right opportunities and condition to drive a greener future for all of us. Another aspect is the traceability, especially important in the critical mineral space, the natural resources as well, because as we know, customers and the public, they really want to have transparency about the products that are buying and using as well. And then lastly, Canada obviously has a very competitive operating cost and business-friendly tax incentive environment. So this also really make it a top choice for foreign direct investment for large companies as well. On the next slide, the one after, we just put together a few numbers for you to see how Canada performed in 2023 in terms of FDI attractiveness. So just to mention, we will be publishing Investing Canada's FDI report for 2024 in the next couple of days. So we will make sure to share that report link to you along with the presentation. So these are the numbers that we had on the previous report. So Canada received the third most foreign direct investment of any country in the entire world in 2023. And the United States still dominates and is far ahead of orders as well, but obviously other major investors or United Kingdom, Japan, Germany, China. So in terms of the stock of investment, these are the countries for Canada. And in terms of the industries, we can see here, manufacturing and, still is in a little decline a little bit as well, but energy and mining and management and trade and transportation are kind of stable and matching the 10-year average as well that we see here. On the next slide, we highlight here the economic impact of FDI and of foreign firms in Canada. So we know that FDI play a key role in Canada's economic growth. This is one of the tools for the government of Canada in achieving its objectives as well. And we are an open economy. We are a trading nation. And Canada welcomes FDI and really where it can help it achieve economic and environmental objectives as well. We know that, those companies are creating jobs, and actually 1 in every 8 jobs in Canada is directly related to FDI. FDI bring also many benefits, so good paying jobs. It also creates economic opportunities. It strengthens communities. It also brings growth as well as prosperity as well. So in 2023, we had $62.3 billion announced in FDI, and that's forecasted to be creating over 29,000 jobs as well. I do also want to mention that Canada ranked number 2 globally for green energy investments, and 29% of FDI went to sustainable projects as well that year. So this is the presentation that we had for you today. These are our contact information. As I mentioned, my colleague Daniel is leading our engagement as well. So we both would be pleased to hear from you if you have any questions after the presentation. But thank you so much for your attention today. And I'm happy to take questions in English and French as mentioned.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Tamaïka. That was a very insightful presentation, and I'm sure we have an enormous amount of questions to come through. I sure do. I was doing my research in the background with my camera off, looking into Invest in Canada, and also looked on your LinkedIn, so you've probably seen me creeping around there. But yeah, we'll now open the floor to questions. If you have one, please use your raise hand or type it into chat, or if you're really feeling it, just go ahead and take the floor. If there are no immediate questions, maybe I have a few that we can start off this conversation with. So as I was looking on Investing Canada's website, and I noticed all of the projects that you have been working on and that were successful, I noticed that there was a little bit of a gap where it showed Indigenous projects or relationship building there, and I was just curious what that looks like to invest in Canada. Oh, very quickly, we do have a question from Ray. Maybe could have him step in.
Yeah, thanks for the great presentation, Ray Wanich. I'm the executive director at CANDO. So credit rating, how is that taken into account when you're looking at foreign investment? Is that something Indigenous communities should be concerned with? I would kind of think so, but I don't know what that perspective is like from a foreign investor. Because it certainly Canada has a AAA credit rating, I believe. I don't know about the province. And then going about obtaining a credit rating, I mean, who would do that? Would that be somebody like Moody's or who would be Dun and Brad or yeah, who
And
would do this?
you're speaking about credit ratings for whom?
No, to invest in a community or a community
So,
project.
so the credit rating of the community.
Yeah.
I believe that, and that's why we have Invest in Canada as well, because at the inception, a lot of different departments were doing FDI attraction. And we realized that there was a need to have a unified voice for Canada, not only in terms of the strategy to attract investment, but also to be able to showcase the entirety of the country, including Indigenous communities as well. So the fact, I would say that companies are first looking at Canada and the Canada brand, which is one of stability, economic prosperity, the advantages that I put forward in terms of talent, sustainability, all these things. And obviously, they will look at the communities and provinces, territories that they will be establishing themselves. But I would say that, they are first looking at Canada as a whole. And we know that for Indigenous communities, it is important to participate in those projects. With Daniel has done the analysis of interest in equity partnerships, sometimes building really those partnerships with companies as well. So I would say that this is the lens that I have seen thus far that the companies are looking at. And maybe I can jump in on your question as well, Sam. So I mentioned that there is a gap, and I would say that, we have well, not so new now, a CEO, but since she's been here for now 2 years, Indigenous engagement is something that is very important to her, and she's really driving the conversation and participating in different instances and having those conversations as well. So that is something that we will be doing more and more as well. I explained a little bit about, the capacity building that we want to do, with providing tools and making sure that we do those connections with global companies, because we know that the projects that we work on, especially on the priority sectors of, natural resources or energy, we saw that there is interest in, priority sectors such as hydrogen, CCUS. We know that there are pipelines involved that are impacting and passing through Indigenous territories as well. So we want to make sure that we are able to do those early intentional introductions as well, working with our partners too. So you may have identified this gap, but we are definitely doing the work so that, very early on, global investors understand the importance of engagement with Indigenous communities as well, and having the right conversations with the right people in order to make the investment successful for all parties as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Tamaïka. And thank you as well, Ray, for the question. It definitely adds some clarity, especially when it comes towards the Indigenous communities and starting off in that portion. But yeah, we still have some time left on the clock. If there are any questions from the audience, it's a wonderful time, and I feel that this is a very great opportunity for either yourself as an individual, or if you're working as a community member or within an organization. This is a place and then the time to be able to ask these questions to further yourself, your community, or organization. So please feel free to throw it in the chat if you don't feel like talking, or just go ahead and ask the question. And if not, I got a whole bunch of loaded questions here in my arsenal. So whenever anyone's ready. Maybe reading off of some expressions, I'll ask this. What is the first step when it comes to building this relationship? Our meetings, are they getting a hold directly to you? Do they just go on Invest in Canada and kind of have to navigate the site themselves? What's the first step to beginning this process?
So the relationship starts, as mentioned, very often with Global Affairs Canada abroad, speaking with the headquarters of those companies. And very concretely, when there is interest from those companies for Canada and they're looking to come to Canada for a site visit, so they would go around in different provinces and territories, but also they come to Ottawa for federal roundtable conversations on all the topics that I have mentioned previously. So whenever we identify that potential location would, signify involvement with Indigenous communities, what we do is working with the right organizations at the federal level, but also with the communities to make sure that we make those introductions. You can imagine global companies from, countries who don't have Indigenous communities. They don't understand, they don't know necessarily to whom they need to speak. And so because we are developing more and more those relationships, we are able to make those connections as well. We also make sure that the companies know about, for example, the impact assessment process as well from the agency, which is another way that those consultations are happening as well, and that introductions can be made. If we don't make them directly, we have the right partners that can make those introductions as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Yeah, if there's any more questions, we'll give it 5 minutes. And if there's no questions, I think it's safe to say we could go into our closing remarks for today. So we'll just allow some space and time for the audience to ask some questions.
And Daniel, maybe you've been working on our engagement as well. If there's anything that you'd like to add, you're welcome to.
Yeah, maybe the only other point that I would add is that as part of our work, we often look to educate foreign investors and remind them that engaging and consulting with Indigenous groups is not a hurdle or a barrier. It's actually part of the success story in making your project move forward. So when we're talking to investors, we often like to remind them that engaging and consulting with Indigenous leaders and Indigenous groups is a valuable and integral part of that investment journey.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very well said. All right. Well, I think we might be able to go ahead and end today's discussions and go into our closing remarks. And a quick reminder, this is also an opportunity to reach out to Daniel and Tamaïka, whether that be through LinkedIn. They provided their contact information. It's the first step is making that connection. The first step is reaching out and just communicating, discussion, having a general discussion. You don't have to have anything in mind, but it's that first step is just communicating and connecting. So be sure to find them on LinkedIn, find them on Twitter or whatever platform you use, and reach out, make that connection. But yeah, thank you again, Tamaïka and Daniel, for joining us in today's session and offering such insightful perspectives on how foreign investment intersects with local economic opportunity. Your knowledge and experience gives us a clearer picture of how communities can think globally while acting locally, and how partnerships can open new doors for economic growth. And to our attendees, thank you for being here and engaging with today's session. Before we wrap up, please take a moment to complete the evaluation form you'll receive shortly. It helps us shape future sessions, and again, enters you into a monthly draw of $100 gift card. It's some big bucks, and if I had the opportunity and they sent it to me, I would take it each and every time, but they never send it to me, so you guys are lucky. Next week's session, we hope to see you at our next session on June 28th, where we'll be joined by Emily Surratt from Pomerleau for our Atlantic Regional Showcase. You won't want to miss it. Thanks again, everyone. Take care and see you soon. It was truly a pleasure listening in today. Have a wonderful day, Tamaïka and Daniel, and
Thank you
everyone
so
else.
much for the invitation. We look forward to hearing from the audience, for everyone if they have questions, but also to understand better investment priorities that they may have as well, in which we can kind of showcase to global investors as well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Likewise. You'll be sure hearing from me in the near future, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank
Take
you.
care, everyone.
You too.
Great job.
Thanks. Bye-bye.